it's not firmly
established.
yet.
Does that come out, that system comes out, I assume, all the way down on Quick Road?
Yeah, all of it does. Yeah. I'll just move back down to Quick Road out there. Yeah, they made no announcement of that move either. I thought they were gonna put it on Facebook or something. All of a sudden, they showed up one day and it's all blocked off.
Well, now they actually have a sign.
Yeah, I know, 500 feet away, but it's added about a half mile to the trail.
Where these come from inside.
Hey,
Bribery.
it's, how are you? Seen it forever. Or anybody else.
They always do, like, it's
I
funny,
asked
the past few months, my parents brought it up, and Svelana's parents brought the same exact thing. We got two, we both brought it home. But they, we get double of everything, so whenever they,
No, I've got to do something.
we got like, you know, New Jersey Ivar we have.
Yeah. I get a chance.
Welcome to.
It was on
Supposed to talk to
Facebook.
the city.
It was on Facebook.
Open on that guy, of course,
I haven't listened to recording, but you have recordings there or something, right?
which I never
As
go
long
on.
as your age is quite prominent. Your age was shown quite prominent.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, no. I don't know how you turned that out.
You can't.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Key wrap. I had a neighbor who ordered a key wrap, and I bunch of mangoes, bunch of fresh lychee. 30 minutes. I never had a fresh lychee until then.
105.
They're too fragile.
That's.
We have a gavel.
The farmer's market. That we did yesterday. Maybe once every few years. we get it. I had one,
Yeah, I was close second. How long have they been there?
half it and half it.
I mean, you know, we're gonna take 5
It's Brian.
Yeah.
It's a brand.
We don't know yet.
So I just wanted to write to you.
There's a pile of them right there. Yeah, there is, I'm right there by the computer.
Because we have to answer that question, because.
Oh, her husband. We'll talk about it.
But we need to do the.
Sure.
So I'll talk to Lucas.
Well, that's reassuring.
The only thing with Dr. Sim, then you just have to go to work and quiet Tyler. But hopefully you don't have to do that. But I mean, if we can tell the guy, he does not have, you know, we have an easement through there for a prescription. That's not.
What did you come here?
I was talking about
So they
the property.
managed to take over the entire council chambers.
Good for you.
I told them to clean up at the end of the day.
Yikes.
Remodel.
Are we not done?
We're getting.
No.
So that's fascinating. With COVID and everything, we're doing 2 years worth in 1 week.
Great.
It's, hey, welcome to.
But we
Well, we moved, and told you things in California, we moved 11 times. Fortunately, you know, like 9 of those.
I'm sure. It's
Yeah, that's just
a lot of.
on top of the daily stuff.
Not so great, yes, it's good, but
A lot of work.
so I'm hoping that this will just kind of become, I hope.
They come in and they eat out every day, so today they went to Turkey's.
And
So they want to go to the New York, but he said, I said, I don't think it's over at lunch.
so they're the ones who special request.
They said something about the pier. I said, well, you're gonna be here a week, you might as well hit all the restaurants you have.
That's right.
The question is, what's the situation? Do I have the right to turn around? And at that point, what now, knowing that we're going. I said, I know. You don't have to do your daughter. So If you have to get an injunction.
Gonna do some work. Just clean it up. Get it ready. Try to get it in. I didn't use it last.
Yeah.
Sitting for 2 years.
Well, we need the rain.
Looking at, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking at the temperature profile today, it started here, went down.
I
Very
came to work early.
strange.
I had to come in the office early this morning.
Yeah, really.
I went outside with.
Run about.
No.
I want to sell it. Someone's going to store it.
Yeah.
In and out.
The maintenance.
The maintenance. Yeah.
James.
Yeah, and it's always dirty.
Victor, I didn't even see that.
James.
No, you can't sell it.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be, hopefully, we can get covered. July 1st or 2nd.
So we're gonna try it one more.
Good, yeah, I hope to see you.
See you later.
Yeah, definitely. I know we saw that in 2019.
We'll call this every Marina.
I saw this. We feel.
How's the cabin?
Good.
Coming back to the room, coming out of the cage.
Yeah, we made huge progress.
I was listening to Lily,
Thanks.
just had fun.
No, it's like
I was like, I let myself go.
45.
It was like period at court, you know, just.
Really.
Yeah. Well, that's the fire.
A lot of people.
China's beautiful.
All right, everyone, 7:00. This meeting order, we can all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag,
of America, to the republic for which
which stands nation under God,
with liberty and justice for all.
justice for all.
Hey, Larry.
That was Larry.
Truck here, truck.
All right, roll call.
Matt Bagara,
I'm here.
John Leo,
Here.
John Cups, Nancy Rendell,
Here.
and Al Dyke.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Perfect. Citizens comment? Anyone in the audience tonight?
Yes,
All right.
Yes.
Larry.
That's Larry. Larry, go ahead.
okay. Good evening. My name's Larry Harris, 145 West Summit, and I'm speaking this evening to summarize on the previous comments regarding short-term rentals. To date, the City Council Assessors Department has attempted to amend, restrict, and enforce the current short-term rental rules. Simply put, this is a misguided notion. First and foremost, the City Council must acknowledge either publicly or privately that short-term rentals have been incorrectly allowed in the single-family zoning district. Secondly, instead of spending time attempting to amend the short-term rental rules, restrictions, and enforcement, the City Council would be better served in immediately implementing a cease and desist order on any further issuance of short-term rental licenses and immediately reclassify the short-term rentals as a business activity. There are two factors that support this assertion. First, Webster Dictionary defines motel hotels as the business of short-term rentals. Secondly, as short-term rentals generate 50 to 100,000 or more in gross income a year, which clearly defines short-term rentals as a very profitable business activity. It's up to the City Council, zoning administrator, and ZBA to work together to unwind this error in judgment and require both current and new applications for short-term rental businesses to correctly apply to the Planning Commission and/or Zoning Board of Appeals. The special use permit hearing process would automatically remove the burden from the City Council and would require an applicant to submit an application and utilize the very effective ZBA process already in place. Most importantly, the city residents would receive written notification in advance of short-term rental businesses considering moving into their respective neighborhoods along with providing local residents an opportunity to voice an objection. In addition, utilizing this process would eliminate short-term rental from entering residential neighborhoods under the radar. In closing, this issue needs the city council's immediate attention, irrespective of any state legislative decision. Continued inaction ultimately will cost the local residents more in taxes, requiring increased fire and police protection, only to appease the short-term rental investors that are systematically ruining our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's, along with that, I know I'm close to 3 minutes, so I will say that I've followed the rules or followed the suggestions. We have contacted the police, the other neighbors. I mean, nothing's going away. Nothing's getting better on 491 State Street. And it's including the condition of the yard, the noise, fires, huge fires under a big old maple tree 15 feet from from both of our homes, or 15 to 20 feet. I mean, it's just, this whole thing's a disaster. Should have never been allowed. I don't know who the brain trust was at this beginning to even allow this to happen, but gosh, I wish you folks could get after this and try to turn this bus around. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment?
We had one other public comment that's in your packet from David Miller expressing just wasn't satisfied with the display of merchandise on the sidewalks downtown, as well as some of the neon signs and windows facing the street.
All right, on to the consent agenda. Do you have any comment from the audience tonight on that? I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda. As
I'll make that
presented.
motion.
I'll second it.
Al Daka,
Yes.
Nancy Roundell,
Yes.
John Leo,
Yes.
Matt O'Gara,
Yes.
John Cups. Motion carried.
Our discussion items.
Great. The first discussion item is Chief Knight prepared a July 4th traffic control order regarding setting up of chairs and other objects on the morning of July 4th. So Chief, you just want to run through that order?
We just talked about it before, the fact that at 9 o'clock didn't work for us. I talked about having it at 6:30. I thought 7 o'clock would be more realistic, so we're gonna try, and as I talked to Mr. Raymer, we're just gonna do a traffic control order this year to see how it goes. It may be better, it may be worse, but I know that 9 o'clock didn't work, and I know I went through my notes. 19, we had 1,400 runners at 8, between 8 and 10 o'clock, and we're busy taking care of them. And this would allow us a little bit more opportunity to enforce it. My plan with the traffic controllers, if there's something out there early, I'm gonna get with Lucas and get one of the DPW pickups. We'll pick stuff up. We'll store it either up to the DPW and our police department. And then there's no penalty assessed here this year. We're gonna see how it goes from there and see what happens. I'm just hoping it's better than it has been in previous years. But I'm open to any suggestions. Because 2 years ago it didn't work, 3 years ago it didn't work, and so we've got to change something.
Worked really well last year.
It went real well last year. We didn't have any chairs in the right way at all.
If chairs or blankets or whatever do get picked up, will they be available for someone to claim?
Yes, I think I put in here, you must be claimed immediately. Oh, they must be removed, and then we will hold on to them for 5 days.
But you might need a stake truck.
I know. My hope is 7 o'clock, a little earlier than 9 o'clock, so it's less convenient for people to get up and do it. I'm probably wrong, but
We'll see.
or else, I'm open to suggestions. Maybe we just do away with it and go back to where they used to put them on 3 days earlier. I don't know how to do it.
Let's not do that.
All right.
No, I thought it was well written. I'd make a motion to approve it.
I'll second that.
Thank you. John Cops.
Yes.
John Leo.
Yes.
Nancy Rondell.
Yes.
Al Laika.
Yes.
Matt Bubiera.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Thank you, and I'll report back next month.
Perfect.
Thanks, Chief. Item 3B, Marina Park Plan updates. So as you probably have seen, the park is developing nicely with the landscaping and the games are there. It's going really well. As you know from last meeting, we're not installing the shade sails, so that's essentially cutting out $15,000 from our initial expected or our budgeted cost, predicted budget for this project. And because we're not doing the shade sails, the Marina Park Committee suggested adding some more umbrellas on some of the tables where the shade sails are. The second one idea was to add a flower bed on the east side of the park near the EV charging station, and then adding a couple more bike racks. And we do have bike racks in storage, a couple extra ones, so there's no need to buy a few more, so we don't have to spend the money on that. Ordering 5 more umbrellas is going to cost us around $500. And as far as a flower bed, no more than $1,500 is what Dana kind of quoted. So we're talking about an additional $2,000 in costs from what we've already spent. So we've spent approximately $33,000 when you take into consideration the tables, umbrellas, and benches that we bought, as well as the landscaping. So this will bring it up to $35,000. I think these are good suggestions, good improvements. Everyone likes the garden beds and flowers and landscaping. So the only question is whether, more umbrellas, but you can close your umbrellas or put them back up. So that gives the person an option if they want to have a shade for their lunch or not. So I don't really think it's.
What was the unit price on the umbrellas?
I'm not sure the unit price. I just know it was about $500 something with
I think they're more like 500 each.
umbrella. I'll have to double check that then.
Still bargaining at twice the price.
Oh, no, it's still under, but I thought, anyway, so I could be wrong about that. We're getting 5 umbrellas.
Final. Yeah, no, I think it looks great down there. Umbrellas will be good.
I was down there the other night for dinner and there were lots of folks who was in the park, lots of little kids. It was really fun and people sitting at the tables having picnics. It was nice.
Really nice improvement.
It was really nice. Yeah, that looks great.
We're getting ready to launch our feedback mechanism to like
Good.
a QR code. Thank you for visiting the park. Please take a moment to answer a few questions.
Yeah, it was fun.
Petoskey and Harbor Springs will be playing for the rights to shoot the fireworks first in Marina Park at a carnival game Friday at 3:30.
Really?
So,
Okay.
and city clerk, Nick
Not gonna be
Whitaker,
hopscotch.
We'll figure something out when we're ready. That's news to me, but yeah.
I just got the email today, but yes, Nick is making the cornhole boards for us.
All
So,
right.
Hurry up, Nick.
Give it time, give it
Big
time.
championship on Friday.
We're gonna take a little time off there on midweek.
so we don't need any official, if by consensus, you guys are fine with this. All right,
Carry on.
great. And so thanks, Dan and the volunteers for helping out there. Almost done. It's an ongoing project. All right, item 3C, the Ford Park launch ramp fees, permit fees. The Harbor Commission reviewed this at their meeting on Wednesday. Essentially, they gave a little history about why they came to the rationale for establishing the commercial fees. They had a few reasons for that, essentially, which was helping to raise revenue to operate and maintain the launch ramp, comparable rates in other northern Michigan communities for the launches, the goodwill performed by commercial users and assisting other boat owners at the park. That was a consideration. The fact that boaters who utilize a commercial entity to launch boats do not take up parking spaces, and the amount of taxes paid by those commercial users. So at the time that they established those fees, those were some of the factors some of the Harbor Commission members said were taken into consideration for establishing the commercial rates. With regards to asking commercial permit holders for records or data, the commission voted 7-2 to not ask for such data. I think the main reason for that was they're not really sure what the data would be used for. Since some members believe commercial user data is really useless on its own without comparing it to the overall data of usage at the Ford Park. And it would be very difficult or nearly impossible to monitor overall usage unless we had some sort of gate or full-time staff monitoring that. And they also briefly discussed the one suggestion that I brought up about potentially having everyone pay a $35 or $60 seasonal fee if you're a boat owner using the valet. And a couple of commissioners were keen to that idea, but the rest of them said they still didn't believe it would be fair based on the fact that some of the boat owners who are using the valet system do not park there, so they should they be paying the same amount of money as, you know, someone who does have a seasonal fee to get a permit tag to park there. My contention of that is that, you know, you're not paying for that parking space, you're paying to launch the boat, and sometimes you're not gonna get to park your car there, but you're not getting a lower fee. But the Harbor Commission didn't feel that was necessary to explore at that time, so I attached the Harbor Commission minutes to the agenda. They're pretty lengthy, but hopefully you read through them and got a feel for the conversation that happened at the meeting. So at that point, I'll just leave it to the council to discuss how you want to proceed.
Yes. Is there a question? No, not yet. I guess Nancy, you kind of spearheaded this thing.
Well,
Anything you want to
I
talk
did.
about still?
I still think are some unanswered questions. I wasn't able to be at the Harbor Commission, but I've listened to it several times. And I think that there's just, for me, there's still a lot of sort of ambiguity of how things got set and how things run down there. You know, I still have people that are asking me about commercial use at the park, and I can't answer it. I mean, I don't have the data or information I need to answer it. So I understand some of the commercial users side of it, where they feel like, you know, they feel like they buy a license, I think, and that should cover it. And I guess one of my questions is, when those commercial licenses were given or decided on, do we know what those commercial licenses say? What they say the people, the Wallstrom's, Irish, whoever's using those can do with their license? I'm looking at you, I guess, because you were on Harbor. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that question. Was it just, you have a commercial license, so you can do whatever you need to do at the launch ramp? I mean,
They can use it
they can use it.
like anybody else uses
Okay,
it.
is
They
there,
don't have any more right or less right
okay,
to use it.
Don't have a parking spot.
Yeah, and they can't park any boats or any trailers. So when they launch a boat, they haul the trailer away.
right, but and that's another point where it's very ambiguous, is it a launch ramp permit or is it a parking permit? I feel it's a launch ramp permit, that's what it says it is, and it's no guarantee that you're gonna have a parking place when you get there, so I don't think myself that really should enter into it if it's a launch ramp permit. So,
I think that there's no problem launching and retrieving boats.
Mhm.
But where do you put the trailer while you're out on the water? That creates a problem because we've only got that little park
mhm.
to park trailers, and we launch many more boats than that.
Oh, yeah,
We have overflow parking down here. And, but I think that, I mean, I agree with Harbor Commission and those that spoke to that. It's really a service to the city to not try to have to figure out where to put all the boat or the trailers for all these boats that would be launched.
and I certainly understand that, but I feel like the fee structure is for launching the boat. It's not for a parking place. That's my understanding of what the launch ramp, the launch permit is for. So I don't think that the lack of parking and the goodwill and the tax stuff really should enter into a fee structure. I think it should be the same. You know, I don't know if anybody else is interested in it. I guess was it designated what the license said? Like, is that somewhere in the notes or in writing or something where it said, here's your commercial license and here's what it means? Like for Josh at the outfitter, is it Is it
I
that
don't know.
anywhere? Do we know?
It wasn't, the rationale wasn't in any of the minutes. The Harbor Commission sort of gave the rationale, and I think Michael Esposito spoke to it a little bit at the Harbor Commission meeting about how potentially maybe that before 2008, before the valet service was instituted, there was this commercial use, and then the valet services were introduced later, and was that what was intended by the Harbor Commission and city when they instituted a commercial license? I mean, that wasn't, I don't think any rationale was given after the fact for that. So do those valet services, does that count as part of the commercial license? And that's the way the Harbor Commission and City Council have been treating it. Whether they should or shouldn't, I think that's the question that you're bringing up. But the rules may speak to that, but I think it's pretty clear that the rules, it is for, you're getting a launch ramp permit to launch your boat. You're not getting a guaranteed parking spot. However, the Harbor Commission did state that that's one of the benefits of having the valet or commercial licenses. They don't take up a parking space. So that was a Harbor Commission's, or some of the Harbor Commission members' view on that. But it has been noted that, you could go down there, you could have your season pass and find nowhere to park, and you're not getting a discount on your season pass just because there's nowhere for you to park your trailer at Fort Park. So you're really not paying for that parking space, you're paying for the launch ramp fee.
To answer Nancy's question, though, if you pulled up the harbor rules or the marina rules, it says what the license is for. That would be the answer to your question.
I think it is covered in the rules, so I don't have access to those here tonight, but we could certainly make sure you get a copy of those so you can see them.
And the converse to your argument, Victor, is although parking is not guaranteed, you can't park unless you have a permit. So
Yes, I agree.
it's one or the other.
I was at the Harbor Commission meeting. There was a robust, but not very, my opinion, not very productive discussion that was had. You did an amazing job of capturing all the detail of the discussions. I left unsatisfied because although there was very good rationale behind the non-commercial costs and fees, I didn't feel that I had a good understanding, but I'm new to it. So I left with action items to do more research to better understand it. I've been busy since then, so I haven't had a chance to do it, but I would like to understand more what the actual definition of the license is, what's allowed, what's not allowed. So I'm not giving up. I want to understand it better. I think a better venue than council to really go at it would be back at the Harbor Commission. I think the panel did a good job of trying to explain how they arrived at the decisions and the fees. I think ultimately that's why they voted not to pursue any other action because they felt they explained what their rationale. So if we're not satisfied, then I plan to go do some more research and come back if I have any questions, which I likely will, and address that Harbor Commission where it belongs. I mean, we rely for their expertise to manage that process and to come to council recommendations. I'm disappointed that it was a 180-degree turn from the last.
For launching, it used to be free. And there were disputes, we had people arguing, fighting to jump the line and get their boats hauled out. So we started putting fees, and we had a full-time person down there for many years that would collect fees. And he died. And I think after that, we put the gate in. We had a gate down there.
That was discussed at the meeting. and what a
Yeah.
Terrible idea it was.
We damaged a lot of cars. So it was a bad idea. And then it was more of an honor system and with police help, and we started the permit system.
Right.
And that seemed to work well. And then, but then this fighting started happening again. So we asked Mary Jane to be down there on weekends to referee and make sure that people weren't power loading their boats onto their trailers, because we had just rebuilt the ramp that was destroyed by people power loading. And that seems to work well too. The only question seems to be, should their fee be more, or should we charge the people that are launching an individual fee, seasonal fee? I mean, that's, other than that, the system works quite well. And I think didn't we up your fee? You doubled it last year?
They did.
It was gone from $50 to $200 in 2019, and then last year it went from 200 to 400.
Data would be, I'm not arguing against data. Data is always good to do this, but it's how much, what do you collect, and how do you collect it? We have to get everybody. You can't just watch the commercial. You have to get everybody. So that means you need a few full-time people down there to cover because the fishermen are launching at 5 in the morning or earlier, and the tribe uses it, and I just see it as quite not a possible task, but an unnecessary task, because we're not losing money on that. If you want to charge, if you want to pass on charges, the seasonal charges, do it, but to me, that seems unfair.
Maybe the original idea or the lack of definition was naive to begin with. And again, this all started within the Harbor Commission saying, wouldn't it be a good idea? And we've come full circle to where they voted 7-2 saying, it's not a good idea. So.
We have a comment from Karen, who's on the Harbor Commission. Another point we discussed was how to measure the use of the ramp by the commercial licensees by number of launches by them, but without knowing the total of all launches, it wouldn't be useful by itself.
So that was
So do we
the
want to hire
consensus.
somebody to do a study this summer? Or, I mean, do we want to spend that kind of money on that exercise?
The only thing that I can think of for counting total is what we did with Kiwanis Park, was have a trail camp set up and monitor it for an X amount of days or time periods, and just to extrapolate after that. But I don't know how, if that would work out well.
If we're going to go down any path, it needs to have someone who's going to be responsible for it. But we'll define what our goals are, how we're going to go about it. And then if it is a camera that's going to monitor it and come back with the statistics that we're going to glean from that. Just taking a shotgun approach and trying to do something, I don't think would benefit anybody. So I personally would table it for now. And if individuals have questions or want to dig further, that we should do that individually. And I would take it back to the Harbor Commission. That this is their responsibility. We've trusted them to do it in the past. I think they've done a good job. If there are issues to address, let's do it in the proper venue.
And we could send that message to them after this, yeah.
Ladies first.
Go ahead, I'm already.
Just one more thing, we were doing a little math after the last meeting and just based on the number of LA lunches that Irish does, you know, are we talking like $200, $300, $400? And is it worth all the effort to hire somebody to sit down there, or somebody to sit and go through a trail cam really for a few $100?
Chicken and egg, we don't know. I don't know. You can't size it until you start. We shouldn't start a project without understanding what the cost and what the benefit might be. I don't think we're ready for that.
From listening to the 3 different meetings, my question is, what's the question you're even trying to answer? Are these fees fair? Which is a perfectly fine question, and then you're just talking about fees. And you can do market research, you can do whatever you want. If it's congestion or other problems at Ford Park, then that has to be what you're looking at, because you can raise the fees all you want, you're not gonna change the traffic at Ford Park much more than iota. Fees don't dictate who uses that park. So I still don't even know what question you're asking, to be bluntly honest.
And I'm not real sure it's all the commercial. Really, you don't know the revenue loss because a lot of people are booking down there, putting in their boat, and parking over here or wherever. So the people that are gonna do it and use it are gonna get a permit. And it sounds like the commercial people are already paying quite a bit. So unless you're gonna put somebody there, which I'm not sure that's the way to go.
Can we have your name and address for the record?
Yes, Lisa Nickel, 638 West Bluff Drive.
Thank you.
And I do have a permit.
Okay. Well, is there a motion on the table to table it? That's what, from John?
To table what?
You said, you just said I table the discussion.
Make a motion to never talk about it again.
I'm not sure that, is there an actionable item on the table? We asked the Harbor Commission to review it. They did. They came back with a vote. Unless
I'm
we
saying
want
that
to
you
pursue it.
suggested a table it. Is that what council wants to do?
That's what I would suggest we do. I don't know, I wouldn't know where for council to take this at this point.
Mike hit the nail on the head. What do you want? What do you want?
I would like to know how much commercial use there is at our public park. I would like,
There's 3 permit users that use the park.
yeah, but that doesn't tell me how much. It's fine, it's fine.
Get a clicker and go
I
sit
think-
down there.
I think at this point, we just let it go. It's fine.
Yeah, because we've already wasted a lot of time on this.
Well, I don't consider it a waste of time.
Neither do I.
Not
I think
at
it's a
all.
valid topic. We
Yeah,
just
I
went
think
down a
that's-
bit of a rabbit.
Yeah. So that's fine.
All right.
Okay, we will go on to city manager's report. The auditors are still here. They're wrapping up 2019 and 2020. Nick, when are they gonna finish up the next week?
Yeah, they'll have a little field work to do, or work in their office, compiling the statements and doing their number crunching, but we have the next week or so.
We hired a Parks and Recreation Director, Rachel Roon. She'll be starting with us on Tuesday, July 6th. We're really excited for her to begin. Members of the pickleball community have begun fundraising for a portion of the pickleball court improvements. We already got $800. We're hoping to raise 7,200. So continue passing the word. They committed to raising fundraising money when we agreed to put the pickleball courts in last year. So they're following through on that. Nick is sending out the tax bills this month, unless they've already gone out.
Thank you, Nick.
They'll get mailed out the last day of the month.
Last day of the month, so they'll be out soon. Tomorrow, a subcommittee of the Plan Commission is hosting a public input session on housing topics here at 6 p.m. I know Bill Mulder is helping lead that subcommittee. We'll stream it live on YouTube. It won't be as interactive, people can watch it, but the goal is to try to get as many people in here in person to watch it. So we've advertised for it and hopefully we have some people turn out for that. City staff will be holding a series of Headley Amendment override ballot discussions, including 3 here at City Hall on Wednesday evenings. The dates are there, 23rd of June, July 21st, and August 25th, as well as some noon lunchtime meetings at Marina Park. And we'll also be going to coffee shops here and there just to talk to anyone who shows up to ask questions about it. We do have a presentation online. I believe I shared that with council members. Thanks for your feedback on that. And hopefully we have enough people. I know it's summertime, people tend to stray away from serious topics, but hopefully we'll get some to come out. And then as a message from Lucas, we traded in an old chipper that was having some emissions problems for a new chipper. So didn't cost us much. We just traded up. I had a few meetings, of course, a few MPPA meetings. I met with Yarrow Brown of Housing North, to kind of talk about our deal that we have with the little Traverse Bay Housing Partnership, putting together a contract sort of to approve, and we're just working through that a little bit, as well as other housing issues. So Efficiency United future planning meeting, just really quickly, we're no longer required by state requirements to do any Efficiency United or conservation issue, conservation programs. We charge, I don't know how much we charge an extra fee on each bill that we would pay the Efficiency United to promote conservancy and efficiency issues, but that state is ending that program. So then council will have a choice if or to what level they want to continue any sort of efficiency measures or programs. So that'll be up to council. We'll come back later in the summer or early fall to talk about that. We don't have to do anything, or we can still do something. So that's just something to keep in mind. Some residents benefit a lot from some of the programs, such as the light bulbs and efficient equipment, but it's been hard for our Efficiency United people to get some of the commercial businesses to really retrofit or something. So it's some of the parts of the program essentially they've been hit or miss. So something to think about that we'll come back to you in the future on that. We'll also look at the budget and see. I mean, really, it doesn't come out of our budget. It comes out of users' fees, electric users' fees. So talk about that.
I used it a couple times,
Yeah.
2 different commercial facilities. It was a great program. It was easy to use. John gave us a lot of help planning. Yeah, and I saved some money on the projects. I thought it was pretty good. But I don't know what it costs to run the program.
How much, Nick, do you know how much we collect?
If I have to go on a limb, our payments to Efficiency United, I think are around 78 grand a year. So it becomes a real heavy benefit.
What cost, what do you get for that $78,000?
And that's what I'm going to review with them. I'm asking them to prepare a list of the
Right.
programs, comparing them, the successes and what they've done for the community on that over the last 3 years. So some, like I said, some programs seem to be worth it. Other programs seem to be a little lagging. Just the nature of the community, especially the resort nature of much of the community. It's hard to,
I think we are a bigger commercial industrial type area where there's some build-outs like that where it might save tens of thirties of thousands of dollars at different businesses maybe, but in the situation where we're at, I don't know.
And both of mine were to relight the warehouse kind of buildings that I was running or buying. And it's amazing what they can do for you, and bring in an engineer and lay out a plan. But, I didn't ever use the recipe for the house or anything.
I used it a couple times for some rebates on commercial equipment. I thought,
Yeah, commercial.
you buy Energy Star stuff. Not $78,000.
No, I didn't need it. No.
And finally, I had a Northern Lower Michigan Managers meeting in Boyne City on June 17th. And that was the extent of my meetings the last 2 weeks. And we're still looking for a few boards and commission members, one for the Tree Advisory Board, one for the Marina Park Committee. And ZBA, we're looking for an alternate. That position's been open for a while. We have a full board, but we're allowed to have up to 2 alternates, I think. And I think we'll have 1 filled, so. I haven't received any responses yet, so please continue talking to people if you can find someone to serve on, especially a tree board. And that's all I have.
I have a question about board appointments. Does it have to be somebody that has to be in person at every meeting, or like, what if somebody's gone for a few months in the winter?
So we generally require for our boards, for them to be available all year long. There's, of course, you can miss up to like 3 in a year, but I think we generally require them to be here all year long. Especially Zoom is ending, participation is ending this month, so.
Is that a city thing or is that a state thing, or
What
like
aspect?
for the tree board, for example?
Tree
We
board,
have a possible candidate for the tree board who got on a boat for a number of months in the winter.
so the tree board, that's a city, it's in the city bylaws. But the Zoom thing is ending state. So remote participation, the state's ending that this month, because Emmett County is no longer going to be in a state of local emergency.
And that applies to advisory boards as well as.
It's in the tree board, it's in the tree board bylaws. Unfortunately, yes, it does limit our pool, but at the same time, it's the way it goes. I think we set up the Harbor Commission to be a little different, to have members from West Traverse and Little Traverse, but I don't think they're set up to be part-time residents. I still think they have to be full-time permanent residents to be on the board.
I think we put in all the bylaws, the 3 meetings, we're out.
Yes, we do have
But
that.
each board sets the schedule. As I remember it, you can't miss more than X number of meetings.
Right.
But does the tree board meet in the winter? Do they meet with the same tree? I don't remember.
We have established monthly meetings for tree board now.
Well, that might be a way to approach it.
Looking for volunteers. All right, any new or old business at the table tonight? Perfect. Adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for coming.